Hey guys, what's going on? Mouse here. So, tier list video, very first in my channel actually, and there is a reason why I don't create things like tier list here in my content because it is something that can be misunderstood. There's a lot. There's just so many things and factors to take into consideration, and I usually want to focus on just very specific use cases when evaluating units. That's why my content are very specific. And the reason why I'm making this now is only because we have a mission and we need codes. That's it. But if you want me to like make tier list content starting now, I can do that as well. I just feel like it's something that I don't want to do half-assed. Something like that. So yeah, maybe I can do that, but right now our priority is to get our codes. So apologies, but of course I'm gonna try my best as well, of course, to explain to you why I'm gonna put a specific hunter to a specific tier. Okay, so I'm only gonna covering the ones that I think are important. There's just one SR unit here, Ana Ruiz. I think she's a very important unit, very crucial unit that can be considered as well here. So this is gonna be very highly opinionated, guys, and this is coming from me who's playing end game content and doing try hard and things. So this is just how I view things, my opinion on things, how I value each of the units that we have here, and how I see them overall in the overall context of the game. Okay, so let's start with the D. So Wang Zhongsu, of course, you guys know that. Jiwoo, you guys know that as well, and possibly I think Lim as well. I actually never used Lim ever, and I feel like he doesn't have any role right now because we have lots of other options. It's gonna be very niche. And Dongsu as well and Saw as well. I think Saw is already lagging behind in terms of being able to contribute to the team as well as her damage. Though I haven't really revisited her because I already salvaged her weapon, but I feel like she's still not something that is gonna be valuable right now in the overall context of the game. So for tier C, I think I'm gonna put Jinchul here. So Jinchul is a good breaker, don't get me wrong, but I feel like he's not something that can be used universally, and he's gonna work well only with Mirei, and Mirei doesn't have anything going on for her, and it feels like he's just not doing enough anymore, like both in terms of buffing and breaking as well as in terms of dealing damage. Next one here, I'm gonna put Alicia here actually. So Alicia was a very strong unit, but her damage right now, she's basically way behind right now, I feel. She's also very reliant on Maylin Fisher, and as a DPS she also doesn't have much contribution to anything. Probably in some game content, early game content, the freeze can be useful, but right now in the end game, I feel like there's not much use for Alicia anymore. She's gonna come back, of course, once the next unit comes. Probably a water breaker scaling off of defense because Maylin Fisher's buff also gives defense, so that might be something that we can expect to fill that spot. And another one here, I will actually put a carry here, and the reason why I will put a carry here is because don't get me wrong, she's a good buffer for Thomas Andre and the light team in general, but there's just no slot for her right now. Even if you use her on POD, yes, of course, she's the best in slot there. But Maylin Fisher's performance there, or Min's performance there, is not that far off. And in the guild boss perspective, uh, she might be used, but I feel like she's not gonna be used. I feel like there's no slot for her right now in the guild boss meta. We might be able to find something for that, but right now, I feel like it's not. And she's also not a good support for Jinwoo, both in Jinwoo content as well as in teamfight content, because her buffs, specifically her ultimate, does not affect anyone other than light units. So Jin was not gonna benefit that much from her. So basically, even in WOBL, not that impressive at all. You can use Min and you'll be fine. So I'm gonna put her here, and devs, please, you gotta buff this. Power creep right now is just so massive with Kanae. So please do consider that. For tier B, I'm gonna put Harper here. So Harper is a good breaker, also has some buffs, but the fact that she cannot be used elsewhere, if you use her without the Dark Team or E-Slash, then she's basically not someone that can shine. Unlike, for example, Gunhee, you can use him a lot everywhere, and it's very difficult to charge her ultimate without Isla. She doesn't have much contribution to anyone other than the Dark Team, and for that reason, it's very niche in my opinion. So I'm gonna put her here, and actually I'm gonna put Mirai to tier B. So there's no content for her anymore, and her damage is already power crit by a lot of the newer DPSs, and she requires like Hansemi to be with the same party to be able to shine. And so yeah, actually I'm gonna put Hansemi here as well. So Hansemi is a support unit that can be useful in some cases, but mostly used in guild boss. Other than that, there's not much use for her. The purpose is really just to support Mirai plus be a general support or mana provider for the guild boss. So I think she can be A, but I feel like she's still not on a level that can be considered A. She's important, yes, of course, but in terms of what she is able to provide in a lot of game content, I don't think she's there yet. I'll probably put the 2 Yunho here. So this one doesn't have much use anymore, but can still be used in some cases, for example, in the guild boss right now, if you don't have like the fire team. Because right now, if you use the meta teams right now, you're not going to be able to actually give Yunho some space. Overall, I feel like he can be B even. Higher B, higher than Jinchul. But yeah, I think this is very niche already for guild boss. And I think no one's going to use him elsewhere, because all of us have Gunhee, so there's not much priority here. So Silver Main here, he got buffed recently. Damage is good, but again, there are not much use cases here. So I'm just gonna put him here because of that damage. But in terms of use cases or purposes, I feel like there's not much for him currently. So next one is Under Whis. I'm gonna put her here, probably somewhere around here, and that's because she is used a lot in team fights like Choi Jong-in. That defense down is very, very crucial in terms of team fights, both in POD and guild boss. So I think those 2 reasons are enough for her to be actually here. Actually, I'm gonna put her here even, because she can carry the grid set and she can reduce the defense. So she's always used in POD like Choi. She's always used in guild boss if you don't have Choi. So next one is gonna be, actually I'm gonna put Alicia probably here just for the sake of it, and let's put Akari here. Let's give Akari a bit of respect, or maybe she can be B after here. This one, yeah, no, she's a trash support. Only supports Thomas Andre, and she supports Thomas Andre, but she's not even like a good support for Thomas Andre even. She's not even enabling Thomas Andre a lot compared to previous supports like Malin Fisher or Pin, for example. So next, I'm gonna put Isla here as an A support because she's always used as a support unit in BOT, in Hunter content, Jinwoo content. So I think she deserves to be here. She's a general support with lots of general buffs, unlike Akari, for example. Although Isla is like meant to buff Charlotte and Harper, she also provides a lot of good buffs to other units like crit rate, crit damage increase, and the death on her A5 is very, very strong as well. And she can also enable units that are ult based with her second skill, right? So I'm gonna put her here. I'm gonna put Gina here as well. Gina is a like a decent support, above average support, I feel. But the fact that she belongs to the meta unit right now, or the meta element right now, which is the fire meta, I'm gonna put her here. And then next, let's put Libora here. Team fight, and she provides something that is really important, which is gonna be the crit rate and the crit damage receive debuff, which are really important right now in enabling some of the strongest units in the game. The top DPS, like for example, Thomas Andre would not have enough crit rate, for example, when playing in the guild boss. That increased damage received in terms of team fight, I think, is something that is crucial as well. And Libora is also seen right now being used in BOT to pierce through the break gauge, because that break gauge has a damage reduction, and in order to reverse it, you have to apply the increased damage received. That's why Libora and Min works very well in those kinds of situations. Arguably, we might be able to put her probably even below Isla. Let's just put her here. So next one will be Melin, Fisher, and Min. Of course, top supports as well, but I'm gonna put more value on Min just because he is used right now in WOBL, and he's used all the time as a support to Jinwoo. It's crazy, the passive crit is crazy, the punishment is crazy, and he's always used as a main hunter in BOT for bursting. Sure, Melin Fisher is a general support as well, but actually I'm gonna put her here even. I feel like Isla has more value right now in terms of what she can offer, and the long-term value of Isla right is good with that power gauge plus cooldown reduction, plus the fast cast or regular proc of blessing set, the Sylph blessing. I think that's very valuable, so I'm gonna put her above Melin Fisher. And if fire was not meta, I'm gonna do it like this, but Gina is crazy right now because of the fire meta. And then let's go ahead, Chahi in here. Chahi, I think I'm gonna put Chahi in somewhere around same value as Libora, just because of that branded debuff as well, and anti-heal, and her damage as well with the light team. So actually I'm gonna put her to A, because she can be used in WOBL, which is a very crucial game content right now. I think she's still pretty legit right now in terms of value, and her value is not going away. Like consistently all the time she's been there, just because of that anti-heal and branded debuff. And of course, next one, Gogun, he will be somewhere around here. You guys already know that. And Charlotte, let's put Thomas Andre here. And Charlotte is probably, her damage is very good, but aside from that, she doesn't offer anything else, just purely damage. In terms of team fight, she will also rely on Moonshadow. She benefits a lot from that. That's why she's very strong. Very close to Thomas Andre, assuming there is a Moonshadow debuff. I think she should be around here, although I'm not sure. Let's not spend too much time on this anymore. I'm just yapping whatever here. So next one will be Isil here. Fire meta. I think she's very valuable right now in POD, in the guild boss as well, and WOBL as well. Even on non-fire teams, Isil can actually be very good support for POD. And next one, I'm actually gonna put Suyun here. Firstly, I think she's the top unit DPS for WOBL. Even if she's not strong anymore in the current guild boss, her existence is a threat that the devs will always have to consider moving forward. I consider this unit a broken unit right now, just because she's able to reach that high absurd amount of penetration and damage. And she's gonna be a total headache for hunter and game content balancing in the future. So although she was already indirectly nerfed in some game content, WOBL Dimos is still a very high priority game content. And yeah, she's just got something that might be able to be used long term, like auto convert to fire element damage. So I'm gonna put her here. I'm gonna put Choi here as well. I think Choi is also a broken unit for team fight because of that defense decrease from his weapon, and that's why he's always used in POD and guild boss. His damage is not good, but another good thing about him is that he can carry blessing set and be able to spam that because his ult cooldown is fast. He can carry the Sylph's blessing as well to buff the team. And so for that reason, I think that he and Ana Ruiz has something that the game also has to consider all the time whenever they make new content. Of course, they can indirectly nerf them by making content that are low def, high HP, things like those. But what happens afterwards? Are they always just gonna make those? Are they gonna introduce new mechanics? So I think Choi right now is one of the most powerful units that contributes a lot of damage. Not direct damage, but indirect damage through his debuff that I think no other units can contribute. That's why Choi lineup in POD is crazy. Choi lineup in Guild Boss is crazy because of that defense decrease stacking. When you reach high amounts, you're gonna get exponential increase in damage. And I'm gonna put Kanae here. I feel like it's not right. I do have a lot of videos showing that. And you've seen a lot of videos already. I'm starting playing the GB. I already know her damage, and I've seen it as well, for example, from the damage of Typal and others. And I played her in POG. 10.6 billion damage in a non-fire day. I think that's crazy. I think that's too much. She might not be the best pick in WOBL, but the fact that she can out-damage Thomas Andre in POD, for example, by a lot on a non-elemental day, I think that's crazy. But of course, she was with Joy in that run that I did. But 20 billion total damage on a light wind day with these two plus Isil. Oh my goodness. What kind of balancing is that? So, I think they gotta fix the others. I think this is a bad power creep. For Suyun, I think it was fine. Because Suyun was like, has something like the defense penetration mechanics, right? And that's a specialized role. But for Kanae, her damage is really just strong, right? And there's a lot of bugs as well, like the bugs on the core that I showed. So there's a lot of things that's like making her damage go wild, like extremely wild right now. I couldn't believe it. Like Thomas Andre was like around 8.5 to 9B in the light day POD with Guni and the carry, and Kanae with 10.6 billion without elemental weakness. I think she's even stronger than Miri on the wind day. So yeah, I think this is broken as well. At least right now. Of course, there might be some balancing coming soon. Of course, new hunters might be the start. This might be the start of the major power creep coming. Well, Kanae might be power creep by other DPS soon, but those units like Choi that can decrease a lot of defense and take advantage and exploit the current defense system in the game, and Suyun as well, who can do just the same by penetrating that defense, is something that I put a lot of value on currently and also in the future. Alright, but anyway, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree or disagree to this? Will you make some adjustments here? Do let me know in the comments. And yeah, see you in the next one.